I preached in this building 1,000 times before we laid the first foundation stone. To me, it was more real than what I'm standing in right now. Hallelujah. Because when God told us to build it, he wasn't standing in my time alone. See, God is omnipresent in all places at all times. And that means that he doesn't need to travel. He doesn't need to use a bicycle or a car or a train or a bus or an aeroplane. He's there. He's there before you got there. He's never arrived anywhere that he wasn't already there before he got there. But if you define omnipresence as only being in all places at all times, it's a shallow definition, because God is not only in all places at all times, he is in all times at all times. That means he's in yesterday yonder, in today present, and in tomorrow yonder, all at the same time in one experience. So when he removes from your presence in your perception and goes into 2024 and starts telling you about what's getting ready to happen in your times, he's not speaking in time. He's speaking from the premise of the future and from eternity, where the truth has already happened in a time you just haven't come into yet. That's the difference between foreknowledge and will. God's will does not always come to pass, but God's foreknowledge is guaranteed. That's why when I talk to him, I want to port into the future and speak to him when we are both in my tomorrow by this factor called faith. Faith is a glimpse of the future. It's not just name it and claim it. It's an experience in tomorrow, because you are with the God who is in yonder. When the bush burned and God spoke to Moses out of the bush did not burn. You know why? It was not in time any longer. It was in eternity. God's eternalness had surrounded the bush, and so it could not burn, because for anything to burn, it requires time. So it burned without being consumed, because it was in eternity. Moses had an encounter that changed his mentality. Before we get to the end of next month, somebody under the sound of my voice, you are going to have an encounter with God that will be greater than the encounter Moses had, in that it will transform your mentality to see yourself the way you see God.